Let's talk about the road ahead Istio observability. Before we talk about it, who am I? I'm Siddhartha Khare. I'm working as a technical account manager with New Relic. I've spent almost a decade in the industry. Prior to working with New Relic, I was working with Citrix as a software developer. I'm a mobile enthusiast and I'm usually work on creating the awareness about why the observability is required for your mobile application and how it will help you. So, a brief agenda today will be around the introduction of microservices, Istio recap, what and why of Istio, key metrics for monitoring the Istio, followed by a short demo. So, what are microservices? So, it's an architectural style that structures an application as a collection of services that are independently deployable and loosely coupled. Services are typically organized around business capabilities. Each service is often owned by single small team. You can see in the background how we categorize different teams and they own their own services. Basically, with microservice, you will have an autonomous structure like each component service in a microservice architecture can be developed, deployed, operated, and scaled without affecting the functioning of their services. It is specialized, like each service is designed for a set of capabilities and focuses on solving a specific problem. And there are multiple benefits uh, like agility, flexibility, easy deployment, and there are many more. Now, let's talk about what is Istio and why it is required. So, Istio is a service mesh, dedicated infrastructure layer that you can add transparently to your applications. This new layer adds extra capabilities to the infrastructure, allowing you to manage the traffic between your microservices. So, you can create your own rules to balance the traffic based on their preference, implement the fault injection rules to apply chaos engineering to your code, and many more options, right? And Istio service mesh is made up of many different components, mainly split into two layers, like control plane and the data plane. So there are some of the features that the Istio control plane provides, like load balancing for the HTTP, gRPC, WebSocket, and TCP traffic, control flow mechanism of traffic behavior by implementing rich routing rules, fault injection, failovers, etc. With Istio control plane, Istio is named mainly the name for the Istio service mesh control plane. It consists of few components which are listed here like pilot, citadel, galley. So what pilot does is it is a component which is responsible for configuring the proxies at the runtime. It propagates new configurations to Istio objects through the envoy proxy. So with Citadel, what it does is it issues a certificate and ensures that they are being rotated. It's like a internal certificate authority you can consider. And then last we have Galley. So this basically validates and distributes the configuration within the Istio service mesh. So after validation, configurations are being sent to the pilot, and then pilot distributes these. Now we spoke about the control plane. So what is there in the data plane? So you might have heard multiple times about Envoy, right? So Envoy is a data plane component in the Istio service mesh architecture. It is not the part of, we can't say it's a part of a control plane, but its role is key to make the Istio service work. Envoy is a proxy that is collated in pods as a sidecar. So along with the original container which is being deployed. So we need to just make sure that the injection is enabled. So this sidecar proxy is responsible for handling the traffic between services in your cluster from internal to the external services. And we can say like without envoy, it wouldn't be possible to propagate any changes or establishing the communication from one service to other services in your service mesh. In short, nothing will work, right? So now the question comes how you can monitor, right? So, and once you start monitoring, what are the key metrics? So these will be the key metrics like it's your request count, total request duration, milliseconds, TCP connection, open total, the request total to the destination service, and how it is being monitored. So Istio uses Envoy, and it's a very high performance service proxy to handle inbound and outbound traffic through a service mesh. Istio's Envoy proxies automatically collect and report the detailed metrics that provide high level application information via Prometheus endpoint. So there are multiple ways how you can monitor your Prometheus endpoints, right? So for today's demo, I'm leveraging New Relic. So if you go to New Relic to add your Kubernetes integration, you just have to click on integrations, and within the integrations, you will have a Kubernetes option available. Once you go to Kubernetes, you can leverage any of the method and you can start monitoring. Once it is being monitored, at that particular time, you will start seeing that the cluster will start coming up into New Relic. So in my case, the cluster name is Conf42 and you can see the metrics here. So if I click on this particular cluster, so you will see the overview of the cluster where it will show you how the clusters are performing, if there is anything pending, alerting, or what all things are in running state, right? So in my scenario, it's Istio. So I'll just search for the Istio proxy. So here you can see that there is a Istio ingress, right? So if I click on this, here you will have an option. You will start seeing the Istio ingress. Let's say now if you want to understand the pod details, you click on the pod details, you will get the complete information about how the metrics looks like, what is the CPU utilization, throttling, memory usage, all these details you will start seeing here. Now at any point of time, let's say you just want to see the logs of your Istio ingress, right? So you click here, you go to click on see logs. Once you click on that, you will start seeing the logs coming up here. So let me just increase the time frame. So once I have increased the time frame, you can see all the logs coming up here, and you can use these logs to debug any problem. Now, what are the metrics which we discussed, right? So there are multiple counter metric which we spoke about. So this is a kind of, there are n number of metrics actually. If you see here, uh, I just went to metric and there are agent certificate related, there are expiry related metrics, there are Go routine related metrics for Istio agent. There are Go threads related metrics, the request byte counts, request byte sums, durations, which is what we were talking about. So the counter metric here, the counter metric is Istio request total, which measures the total number of requests handled by an Istio proxy. And the distribution matrix is Istio request duration milliseconds, which measures time it takes for the Istio proxy to process the HTTP request. And then another distribution metric is Istio request bytes and Istio response bytes, which measures the HTTP request and response body size, right? So you can see here the list of metrics. And let's say if you want to see specific metrics to Envoy, so you will get the whole set of Envoy metrics as well, and it will be listed here. Now, let's say you have these many metrics, but now you want to visualize your data, right? So if you just want to see what is the request volume per minute for your application, you will be able to see the information coming up here where you can see the app name and the pod name and the app names. You will start seeing here. You can start seeing the request duration milliseconds. You can start seeing the traffic on front end and from which particular front end application and from what source the traffic is coming. You can start seeing the traffic on your backend application and what is the source of that traffic. So in this particular scenario on my backend database, I'm generating the traffic through my sleep pod and through my front end part. And here you can see the outbound request by the response and the source application. So you can see that there are 200 OKs for and 404 errors. And then we have a histogram for the client request in the milliseconds. So it's very simple. You just have to write the NRQL, which is New Relic query language, and you will be able to create these visualizations. Similarly, we have something called the visualization for the request response code, where you can see how much percentage of time it is going for 200 OK and for 404. So this is how easy it is to monitor your issue service mesh by leveraging any specific tool. Again, as in this case, it was New Relic. So I hope you enjoyed this session. If there are any queries related to how to set up the environment or how to start monitoring it, feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn and happy to connect with you. Thank you and have a nice day.